Okay, so we are live. Okay, so welcome back, everybody, to DDF Footy Chat. We have got a jam-packed show today. It's going to be super fun. We got lots of talking points, and as always, the same familiar faces are here. So, Tom, how you doing?
I am absolutely great.
I can tell. Let's save the emotion. And Matt, how you doing?
Well.
I'm as well as can be expected. Yeah, thanks, Nick. How are you doing?
Loving life. Absolutely loving life for a variety of reasons. You know, United had a win. I'm married to your sister. What else could be better? Do you know what I mean? So anyway, So let's get on with the show. I think the first talking point should be, I'm sure everyone's expecting kind of like Liverpool versus United reaction, but I think we should go with something that's kind of, I mean, I didn't predict it was going to happen, but Arsenal going top of the league. So let's start with the Bournemouth versus Arsenal game. Matt, over to you. What were your thoughts and how are you feeling about your team in general? I'm sure I could have answered
it. Well, I mean, from the game, I mean, let's start off by saying, yes, it's great, but I think we have had a few easy fixtures. The easiest one being Bournemouth, newly promoted team. You would expect Arsenal to win that in the usual case, but with our newly improved team, it was quite an easy game. Let's be honest. So defensively, we weren't challenged very much, especially in the first half. We just controlled the game so well, and it's what we always want to see from any team, is just to go at it straight from the get-go, which we did. We got a couple of early goals, and it just gave us a chance to settle back at that point and just control the game, which we did really well. And then in the second half, we had a really nice goal from Saliba. So not only a great performance at the back from him, as usual, as what we expect from him now, but he also curled one in with his left peg and lobbed the keeper. So it was a really nice game to watch.
When Saliba's not scoring in his own net, he's scoring at the other end, you know?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, unfortunate own goal the other day against Leicester, but if that meant, us drawing or losing the game, I would have been gutted for him, but it didn't really have a massive bearing on that game anyway. But yeah, so 9 points out of 3 games. We're scoring goals, which we weren't doing last season, and we're not conceding many either. So bar a great James Maddison goal the other day and a crazy fluke kind of own goal from Saliba, we're looking quite solid at the back, which is really good. Obviously, the challenges will come when we play against more attacking teams with top quality strikers. But yeah, for now, it's kind of just carry on, really. Just carry on, keep the form. I don't think Fulham will be an easy game on Saturday, because we all saw what they did against Liverpool, but then we all saw what you did against Liverpool as well. So who knows at this point? I just want to see the momentum, and I know we've got quality in this team now, so let's just keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that. Tom, what are your thoughts in regards to Arsenal so far?
Yeah, I watched that game. I thought the thing that struck me the most was how the players are enjoying themselves. Like, Arteta is definitely establishing a culture there, isn't he? I mean, you can tell by the way the players celebrate together, like the jubilance, the camaraderie. I mean, there's a great spirit in Arsenal at the moment. It's coming through in the game as well. He's got them fired up. I mean, every game they've played, they've been quite consistent. I know, Matt, you're saying that they haven't played, any of the big teams yet, but they've been consistent. They've just been attacking.
I mean, when I say big teams, I'm not saying negatively against Crystal Palace or Leicester, but I mean, big 6 teams. Leicester is still a big team. Crystal Palace was definitely not an easy game. I'm just saying, when it comes to actually, the proper challenges against, Liverpool, well, you would say Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, Tottenham, they're coming up shortly. So we'll see.
But to be honest with you, I mean, no wonder Jesus has fitted into, Arteta's game plan. They knew each other from Man City, obviously know that. But against Leicester, like, we didn't have time. You just strangled us the whole game. We didn't have time to breathe. And that's the same with Bournemouth. And that you've done that consistently now. If you can keep this going, you deserve to stay at the top of the table. If you can keep it going against the big sides. I mean, question marks there whether you can compete with them, but I think you got a good chance. And I was really impressed with, and I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, no, I think they're all good and valid points. I mean, I hate Arsenal. Like, I not as much as I hate, City and Liverpool and stuff like that. But to suddenly see Arsenal doing well, it just frustrates the life out of me. Especially, I think back to like the old great United rivalries with Arsenal back in, the early 2000s, 2005, when, Keane and Vieira were going at it. That used to be one of the best rivalries between us. And then kind of like Arsenal drifted off into, I hope it doesn't sound too harsh, but mediocrity. And then they've been building something over the last few years. But I never thought that they would kind of like start off this well. I think that, credit to Mikel Arteta. You said like, you've had 3 relatively easy teams, but the old saying is you've got to beat what's in front of you. And you've been managing to do that. And I think that that's something that's different about Arsenal this season is you're managing to beat those easier teams. You're not giving up. You're getting goals from all over the pitch. If it's not your attackers, it's your defenders, your midfielders. Ødegaard absolutely smashing it up on the weekend. So, I can't really fault Arsenal at the moment. As Tom said, it'll be really, really interesting to see whether you can keep it up, whether this is kind of like a really, really fast start and whether you'll kind of like just drift off. But I can't see it happening at the moment because I think even if you lose to, say, the traditional big 6, so the other 5 teams in the traditional big 6, I still think you have enough to beat the lower ranking teams, And so when the big 6 all start beating each other, will Arsenal still have enough to beat all of the bottom teams? I'd say, yeah. I think I've seen enough from Arsenal at the moment to consider that I'm not going to say they're going to be a title challenger, but I don't think they're going to be very far away. I don't think that they're going to be very far away. I think if they can get a few more goals and things like that out of their attackers, so like Jesus, because actually I was quite surprised. He's only scored 2 goals in the 3 games.
2 goals against Leicester, yeah.
Exactly. Was in the one their first game. So, with the hype around Jesus, I was thinking like he scored in every game, but he actually hasn't.
No, he came really close in the first game against Palace, but didn't quite fall for him. And then against Leicester, he could have scored 4 or 5. And Absolutely. Then he had the goal disallowed, marginally offside, very marginally, especially if you look at the one from last night as well. It was so close, mate. Gutted for him because he deserves a goal. Every single game he plays, he deserves to score a goal because he has been amazing. The first goal that Ødegaard scored, Jesus' run from taking the ball down, holding it up, and then just going through 4 or 5 Bournemouth players. Just absolutely phenomenal. We haven't had a striker like this in years. So I'm just so excited to see what he can do this season and how many goals he can actually score because he should have scored in every single game so far. And he will continue to keep up that rate.
I mean, you say you haven't really had a striker like that. Don't forget Aubameyang's.
No, but Aubameyang, I can't hear you. You've gone.
Don't forget about Aubameyang. He had like a really, he almost got top goal scorer, didn't he?
No, he did. He got joint goal scorer one year with Salah and I think it was Mane. Both got. It was a 3-way. But yeah, Aubameyang in that season when he got the golden boot, he was playing typically as the left winger. We never really went as far as to say Aubameyang was our out and out striker, number 9. Whereas Jesus is definitely that for us at the moment. So yeah, the last time we've had a decent striker that can make them runs, I mean, I'm going as far back as Thierry Henry, mate. Like, we've not had a striker that, that runs at the opponents like that, and they just have no way of stopping
it. Yeah. No,
so let's see what he can do against the bigger teams. I would love him to do something like that against Tottenham. That would just make my day.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be really, really interesting to see. You've got some tougher tests coming up, but like with any teams, all it takes is a couple of injuries for that whole kind of like consistency to suddenly be derailed. So it'll be interesting how you manage once you do come up to that adversity of losing players. I mean, you might be quite fortunate and go that whole season of not losing any players. I mean, when Liverpool won the league, they went through the whole season not losing any players. So it'll be interesting whether Arsenal can do that.
I mean, the tough tests for us usually come when, Partey gets an injury. I think out of all the positions now, we have pretty much covered them. With Zinchenko, we've got Tierney, so there's two quality players there. Right back, we've seen that Ben White can be quite good. I still don't think he's who we typically have the first choice as a right back. But centre back options, winger options, attacking mid. I just think we need to get some cover for Thomas Partey because we know he's going to get injured at some point. And Xhaka's okay in that position, but I think we need to find something to fill that gap just in case, because Partey is vital. He has a vital role in our team, kind of the unsung hero. But if you watch him, he just controls that game so well.
Yeah.
So we need him. We need him to have an injury-free season. Like he went for years at Atletico Madrid not getting injured.
I mean, the Premier League's just different, though, isn't it? It's more more pace to it. More physical. So let's see what happens. I think, you're going to have a tough test against Fulham on the weekend. I don't think that I think teams are now able to see that Fulham, no one can take them kind of like anything but serious because they've got a lot of players all over the pitch that can absolutely hurt you, as they showed against Liverpool.
Yeah,
I think
Mitrovic
is a fine player. Yeah, absolutely. Mitrovic is a fine player. Like, your centre backs are going to get torn ragged by him. It'll be interesting to see how Saliba can deal with him, because the thing with Mitrovic is he's a veteran. Like, he knows how to play this game. And then obviously, I mean, I'm loving it. I think it's great to see Andreas Pereira doing really, really well. I've always thought there was a player there. He just wasn't at what Manchester United needed at that time, but it's great to see that he is lighting up elsewhere. So let's see what happens. I think it'll be a really, really decent game. But I'm sure you're going to go for the, 4 out of 4, are you? You're going to go for the win?
I would think so. It's at home as well. So with the atmosphere that was at the Emirates when I was at the game against Leicester, if we have that same atmosphere, that's going to be a big factor. And I'm sure the fans, I'm going to be up for it. So I think we'll get the win. Not saying it'll be an easy one, but I think we'll get the win.
So given where Arsenal are right now, what do you think that they need in order to be a title challenger this season, if you'll even let those words leave your mouth?
Consistency, mate. That is it. We need consistency, and we need a bit of luck. Like, I'm not saying we need everyone to drop points consistently. It's helping, Man City, Liverpool, all dropping points. But when I mean luck, I mean injuries. We need to just, sometimes you just can't help getting injuries. We need luck on our side to stop these players that are vital, Absolutely. That are crucial to our team. And I still think there's still time to get some solid transfers in that can fill them gaps. So a winger that can play either side to cover that, a defensive mid. No idea who that will be, but I'm sure we're going to get some more signings before the end of the window. I know it's coming up, but we're going to get some in. We have to. Okay. Just because we've got cup games, we've got Europa League. We need to have a great Europa League run as well. So eagerly anticipating what transfers we do have to come, because I think there'll be big ones.
Yeah. All right, Tom. Do you think Arsenal will be up there challenging this season, or do you think that they don't have enough about them?
And they could do. Still early days, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's still really early days. But I think they've got enough in the locker. At the moment, they've got the momentum, and some of the big teams haven't. I'm a bit surprised of the teams that have not come out firing this season. So I think that's the way Leicester win it, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Leicester play great.
I was actually having that conversation with someone earlier. It's like the season that Leicester won the league was partly down to the fact that other teams weren't really playing that well that season.
Yeah, like a lot of things aligned for Leicester, which made it possible. And they got the right formula and the right type of season against the right type of difficulties with the bigger teams. And that's what you mean by all stars aligning, right? Is having luck in all those areas, is having success in all those areas. So
absolutely,
but it's a possibility. I wouldn't bet against it not happening.
No, I'm not going to say yes, and I'm not going to say no. I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. I think Arsenal are going to be a lot closer to winning the title than not being close to the title, if that makes sense. So I think that they're going to be a lot closer to winning the title than they are going to be away from it. So in the sense of, I think that they're going to cement top four. So the predictions that I had of Arsenal going to miss out, I do think that I've been able to see enough to consider that they're going to definitely be top four, because there's so many other teams that are just so inconsistent. I've heard a lot of chat saying, yeah, but these teams will suddenly start, finding their rhythm, winning their games. But then I'm like, yeah, but what if Arsenal don't lose their rhythm? What if they don't start losing games? Do you know what I mean? They've already got a 9-point gap on West Ham, for example. Yeah. And last season and the season before that, West Ham were doing stuff. They were being talked about breaking into that top four and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just see what happens. It is early days, but I guess Arsenal are showing that they've got some credentials this year. How long it's going to last, I don't know, but I'm quite confident they're gonna get top four for sure. Okay, so guys, do let us know in the comment section below what you have made to Arsenal's start, because I think on the surface it looks pretty impressive. All right, so let's go to Thomas.
Oh dear.
What is going on in the world of Leicester? Come on. I mean, your team had a lot of excuses last season. What's going on now?
So, I mean, different situation than last year. This is the first time I've ever been worried. In a long time, since I can remember, actually. In the last, we're talking 4 or 5 years, longer than that. This is the first time I've been worried. Last season, when you guys were, especially you, Nick, were grilling me about, you're middle of the table, why don't you come back? And I pulled out the excuse. I pulled out the excuse of we had injuries. And I told you, quite certain, that Rodgers would turn it around. I had that faith in him. So that's changed a little bit now. Not the fact that I still have faith in Brendan Rodgers. I don't see how Leicester are going to get out of this easily. I don't know what they're going to do. It seems that their plan A is gone, like trying to get rid of players. And we haven't got a plan B. So it's like, I don't know what's going on in the Leicester camp. The players clearly don't know. The body language on when we played Southampton was just, Brendan Rodgers looked like he was done. He looked like he was like completely wounded. Watching him on the sidelines, you want that passion. You want that, Tuchel versus Conte passion. You want that. You want that fighting spirit. And I just think Brendan Rodgers, he needs to, if he's going to do it, he needs to really get that fire back somehow. He's turned things around before. He's got the skills to do it. He's got it in his locker to do it. In terms of the game against Southampton, 75% possession, first half, no shots. That says it all. That summarises the whole game. The last game Claude Puel ever managed was very similar against Crystal Palace. We lost 3-1. All the control, like a Man City game, but without any of the box action at all. So that was kind of like, it was like a Southampton. And then our defence was just really poor. And then we just looked like we didn't even want to play. So, at the moment, our feathers have been ruffled a little bit for Fafana. It's not an excuse. Fafana wasn't playing, which was a blow. Tielemans isn't playing, is a blow. this transfer news has rocked the ship. Fofana now an extremely focused player in the summer, someone who Brendan Rodgers exclusively said, he's very focused. He loves it at Leicester. He said those words. He said he likes his time at Leicester. He's liking the staff. He was very enthusiastic about Fofana settling in, and now he's saying he's not settled anymore. And now he's come out and said, he was not. His mind isn't right. Will his mind ever be right again? He's got £200,000 floating, in front of him. He could have £200,000 in Champions League. That's enough to unsettle any player. So that is really hurt us. And I'm not saying his excuse, because there's no excuse for the performance we're playing against Southampton. It's just terrible performance, terrible spirit, and energy.
There were some positives in that game. I mean, James Maddison looked pretty good.
Yeah, and he's the only player that's just turning up.
James Maddison, out of the 3 games you've played, he's been the only player that looks like he's actually wanted to play.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I know it's and I feel worried about him as well. He's looking around thinking, I'm the only player that really wants this, that's performing. And we're feeling very vulnerable. So this is probably the most vulnerable time. And it's like, what are we going to do? We've got a few weeks left in the transfer market. Hopefully, if we can get a few players out. But from what I understand, there is money there. From what I understand, there's money there. It's just getting more players out so we get more players in. But no one knows. The transparency is not there. Brendan Rodgers is every opportunity just having a bit of a moan about this lack of transfers. We know that. We know what's going on. From the very start, we know you can't get transfers in, man. Just let's bring the team up now. Because he's saying the whole time, he's kind of saying, got no transfers in. His players are watching that and thinking, all right, are we not good enough? Which clearly they're not. But that's the message he's sending to the Leicester camp. It's like, we need a refresh. We need a refresh. We need a refresh. And that's drilled into the players. And it's like, we should have put that aside a long time ago and just been really positive with what we had. And
I am sorry to say this, but the refresh I think this team needs is a new manager. Like, I think you've got some decent players. We know that, but I just think that Rodgers doesn't know what to do with them anymore. You've said that already. He's sending them mixed messages. He wants new players in. He's saying these players aren't good enough. These players are good enough to get towards the top of the table. But
so I
Brendan
agree.
Rodgers just I
agree with that. I do, and that is the first time that thought's ever crossed my mind. I'm still backing Rodgers though. He still
you have to. You still have to back him in a sense, but
he still hasn't done enough for me to completely lose hope in him. It's just he has made some strange decisions, but it is 3 games in. I don't want to lose that perspective. It's early days, but I know
the strangest decision for me was that he decided to leave Fofana out of the team because his head wasn't in it, and the team lost. So what's the difference? What difference has it made? He could have been in that team, and you could have won.
He had Tielemans on. He put Tielemans on the bench as well. So there's some questionable decisions that are going on here, and
it's not quite transparent. And maybe he did come out with an interview saying, but I don't know if Fofana chose. He had a word and said, "Look, my head's not in it."
From what I heard in interviews, he decided to leave him out of the team.
Yeah, he definitely dropped him. Like we all know that when there's a big transfer saga going on, that these players are left out.
But almost if Fofana said to him, "Look, I still want to play. I've still got my head in this," I think he would have played him. I'm not. I think it's a two-way thing. I think it's a two-way thing. I know exactly.
It might be just how they trained. He might have noticed in the training that he just
that's a point as well. That's a point as well.
For me, obviously, United have been going through manager after manager, and it's not a beneficial thing to do at all. And giving up on Ollie was probably the hardest thing I've had to go through as a football fan, in terms of kind of like, one of my childhood heroes when I was younger is now our manager, and I think, he's going to be the one that brings us back our glory days and all of that, only to then be like, how much further are we going to be able to go? Because you said that it's only 3 games that you've only picked up 1 point in, but I mean, your next 3 games are against Chelsea, Manchester United, and Brighton. And I put Brighton into that because they ain't no easy team to play or beat. So I think for me, Leicester City as a whole, as directors and as a board and things like that, they must be thinking about when they're going to pull that trigger, because let's just say, for example, you went on another 3-game losing streak. That's going to be 1 point in 6 games. And then you're talking, that's like relegation battle form, you know? So it's just something to think about. And I also question as well around Fofana. Leicester are really good at getting their money's worth for players. Yeah. I mean, look what you did to us with Harry Maguire. All right. Chelsea today, through, you know, football Twitter, so some very reliable sources on there, such as David Ornstein, he came out today and said that Leicester have rejected another offer from Chelsea for 70 million pounds. Yeah. 70 million. And what I'm thinking is, they sell him for 70 million. They get a player out that doesn't want to be there. They then got 70 million pounds left over, which they can then go in and smash the last 8 days of this.
And that's why I know there is money at Leicester. Because if there wasn't money at Leicester, if there wasn't any money for transfers, they might have gone for a short bid. But I don't
think a short bid. This bid is a mega bid.
No, I don't think it. But I don't think it is that that's how you know that there's money available. It's that they know that Fofana is one of their best players. Exactly. But they've got to think about the team as a whole, the team dynamics. Are they going to be able to fully integrate a player back into the team, knowing full well that you don't want to be there? You know, these sort of questions. I mean, I've had it all leveled up at us about some of the players that we've taken on. Di Maria, Sanchez, you know, all of these different players that as soon as they have been forced into doing something, at some point they down tools when it then all gets difficult. Because Fofana, let's just say, for example, Fofana can do really well up until Christmas, up until the World Cup, and then the January transfer window comes around. Is he going to do exactly the same thing to force his move through? Just stuff like that is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good point. But, you know, I don't think if we're going to sell Fofana, is not for sale until a record is broken. And you'll say, you know, that's real, you know, that's ludicrous behaviour, but we think he's worth it.
He's
not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that. You can say that, and you can say all you want, but I mean, a player's worth what people are willing to pay for him. And
but no one's willing to pay that, because now Chelsea are talking about not going back in for him.
And that'd be great,
because they're.
Yeah,
no, but that won't be great.
He got left out of the team because his head wasn't in it, right? And Leicester are like, yeah, let's keep him. What the flip? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
That's one game. This guy's a professional, right? He might be able to.
No.
You don't think he will?
He wasn't in the team today at all, not even on the bench. If he's not even in the team, when you play, is it Chelsea on the weekend?
Yeah.
Is it Chelsea, yeah?
Yeah.
If he's not even in the team, then not accepting 70 million is the stupidest decision I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't even make the team.
But if you also look at what's going on with Manchester United now and Ajax in terms of Anthony, their right winger, he is refusing to play. He's refusing to play, okay? Because he's trying to.
He's not even training, is he?
Exactly. He's not training. He's not playing. He's absolutely refusing to pay. And Ajax are trying to get 100 million euros from us. And we have said that the maximum that we're going to pay for him is 85 million euros, which works out to be like 77 million pounds or something like that. Now, I still think that that's kind of well over the top for somebody of Anthony's quality, because he's only 22 years old.
8 goals last season.
Exactly. But for me, United need to spend that at the moment, because, you know, if we want to get back and all of that, we need to have, you know, a strength and depth and things. But United also make a load of money from their revenue and turnover and all of that sort of stuff. And United could probably go in for other players that could potentially be better than Anthony or whatever for different money. But Leicester, how many 70 million pound players do you actually have? So if that money isn't there, because no one can guarantee that money is there, just like they can't guarantee that it isn't there. But how many more 70 million pound players do you have other than maybe James Maddison? I ain't going to put Tielemans in that, because I don't think he's worth 70 million.
No, I don't think Tielemans is worth that much.
But yeah,
you're sure good to get 30 for Tielemans because he's out of contract, isn't he?
There's 1 year left.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, how I see it, I still got hope that we can integrate Fofana back and he can be a really good asset for a club. That's I know you're seeing.
I didn't realise that you did have Chelsea next week. he is not playing against
No,
Chelsea.
he's
I'm
not playing
telling you,
against Chelsea.
he is not playing against Chelsea. That would be absolutely crazy, right? So that's 2 games. If Fofana hasn't featured, and you're like, nah, 70 million, not enough. Let's keep him. Keep him at the back.
But you know, to be fair, I
Totally.
do hope that
100%. I 100% think that.
I do
100%
hope
want to hold on to our top asset. Forget he's not. Let his head get straight. He's a professional. Let his head get back into it. He loved Leicester. He loved his time here a few weeks ago. Why can't he find that again? Because of 300,000 a week for the next year, he'll move on eventually. Why can't he get his head back into it and help our team do well this season? We need our assets.
Let's see.
We need our best players. This is fighting talk. This is not let's sell him now. His head's gone a little bit over his last few games. Let's sell him now. This is he's one of our best assets. Last season we totally missed him, and this season, he's important to us. Let's make something happen. Let's do something this season.
No, I agree with you, Tom. Like, I think as a football fan, you deserve to have that mentality about keeping them. But as a United fan who has kept players against their will, it has only led to us going down the wrong path. If you do keep him, absolutely great, all of that sort of stuff. But forcing that player to stay there, I think, would do more harm than good for the dressing room more than anything. But as I was going to say, I do hope that Leicester stand their ground, because apparently Chelsea are going to leave Fofana and they're going to come in for Harry Maguire. So it only then benefits Manchester United.
There's even Maguire come back to Leicester.
Let's see what happens. But no, I think you make some valid points. It's good to see that passion coming through. Let's see what happens with Fofana, and let's see what happens with Leicester. But listen, I think the best thing for Leicester is the same as Matt. Rodgers out. It's time for Rodgers to go. But anyway, guys, do let us know what you think of Leicester season so far and what you think needs to happen to turn that season around. And do you still think that Fofana is going to be a Leicester City player come the 1st of September? Because another thing to remember, Tom, is that on the final day of the transfer window, Leicester are actually playing Manchester United. So actually, Leicester and Manchester United have less days than everybody else to do their transfer business. So that's something to bear in mind as well. Okay, so moving on to United versus Liverpool. Now, I went into this kind of like, Matt was saying to me off camera and everything like that, you had an inkling that United could do something against Liverpool. Now, I did have that feeling. However, when I talk and I start getting confident, that's when we lose. That's when we get smashed. So I tried to keep quiet and I tried to play it down. But the energy that I felt yesterday when we went 1-0 up and just the whole overall team performance, I was so happy with, Also to see kind of like the protests going on prior to the game, I was like, this feels like a United fan base right now. And then to see Casemiro come out before the game as well, it just got me really, really excited. But the overall game from United's point of view was brilliant. I thought that we approached the game really well, because here's a slight difference. Under Rangnick and under Ollie, we were sitting back. Yeah, we were sitting back. We were inviting that pressure on. But already under Ten Hag, you can see that he has his ethos. He has his principles. He's like, do you know what? Even if that team's better than us, we're going to go at them. Yeah, we're not going to sit back. We're not going to invite that pressure. We're going to take it to them. And that's what we absolutely did. And this is why I'm excited for when we play against Arsenal in a couple of weeks' time, because it's like a message to you. I said it's going to be 2 good teams going at each other. Neither are going to sit back, and we're going to see what happens. And hopefully, we're going to see the best team will win out of that game, But it was just great to see United put in a really, really good performance, because everybody had written us off. At the very beginning, everyone had written us off. We had 2 terrible results against Brentford and against Brighton. Lisandro Martinez was being written off already, but he's come up against arguably the best team in the world, or whatever Liverpool fans want to call him, and he's done really, really well. Rafael Varane, I thought that was his best game in a United shirt. I am so impressed with our left back, Tyrell Malacia. I've been really, really confident we're going to see some good performances from him. And what I'm so happy about is I think that the performances that we put in yesterday keeps Harry Maguire out of the team, keeps Luke Shaw out of the team. I'm really sad, but I think it keeps Ronaldo out of the team, because I just can't turn on Ronaldo. I can't. Maybe it's because I still live in the past and all of that, but I just can't turn on him. But I think he's kept out of the team. Casemiro coming into it and seeing McTominay going out of the team, all of that sort of stuff. I do feel really positive, but it's like what all of the pundits were saying last night. It's all fine to do it in this one game, but you've got to be able to do it every game. And going to Southampton on Saturday, away to Southampton at 12:30, is not going to be an easy game. And I think that we'll learn more about United's credentials over the coming season against Southampton than we did against Liverpool. Because let's not forget that Ollie managed to beat Liverpool. He managed to beat Man City, and it's all of the other games that he failed in. I mean, I saw something on Talk Sport from that Simon Jordan today. He's an absolute numpty sometimes. He had already written Ten Hag off, not because of the performance against United, but because of how he looked, because he was wearing an overgrown suit and all of that sort of stuff. So already our manager is being attacked because of the way that he looks, because he's Dutch, all of this sort of stuff. But I say, talk about us because that'll keep us in the spotlight. We'll be able to prove more and more people wrong and see what happens. I'm not going to be one of these United fans that say that we are back. We're going to be the best team in the world. But what I can see from Liverpool that I didn't see under Ollie ever, even when we beat them, was that ability to go at them as a team and play really, really well. And actually to see that when we made those substitutions, even our substitutions had an impact. So Ronaldo had an impact, Donny had an impact, and that was really good to see. So what are some of your guys' thoughts?
Well, like I said to you yesterday, I believe that if Ronaldo started that game, it would have been very different. And I don't think he has a place in Ten Hag's plans. I mean, he's got 1 year on his contract. He either stays and, becomes resigned to the fact that he isn't going to be that star player, or he's got 9 days to find somewhere else to play. I don't think you're going to miss him. I really don't. And I've said that from the start of last season. Ronaldo coming into the team rocked the boat, and that is one of the main reasons why last season was unsuccessful. Yes, he scored you a lot of goals. He saved you. But I think he wouldn't have needed to save you if you stuck to your guns, played the plan that you had. Because I just don't see Ronaldo, especially with Ten Hag, his established manager. I can tell that he's not in his plans. Yes, he knows he has to keep him. And yes, I mean, Stormzy in the post-match interview yesterday, he was asked the same question. And he said, look, Ronaldo's the GOAT. You don't mess. You can't criticise him because he's so good. But I just don't think he has a place in this United team. And I would be really good if he does force his way back in, because I think it will be to your detriment. I think you'll see that you can't play the football that you want to be playing. The pressing, the attacking, I just, that's just how I feel.
I think in what you're saying, you're not criticising Ronaldo. It's just like he can't fit into this team, because in my view, he'll always be the greatest of all time, because I've only ever been able to compare Ronaldo and Messi, and I've always just thought Ronaldo's better. But I honestly think that Ronaldo will get his move. I think that there's things going on behind the scenes that, if we're bringing Gakpo and Antony, I think that the talk is that United will respectfully tear up the contract. So they'll tear the contract up and they'll allow him to leave as a free agent, because his heart is set on getting into Champions League football, goal scoring, all of that sort of stuff. So I respect that. And I hope that one day he might come back as a potential manager in the future, all of that sort of stuff. But I still think that if he's got that ability to adapt and be flexible, then maybe there is a place for him. But I don't see him being a starter either, which for me, you can't put the former best player in the world on the bench. He needs to go somewhere that's going to be. Absolutely.
So, I've got a question then. Who do you think this season is going to be a top goal scorer?
For us.
Well, Nick said yes. Oh, for United?
Yeah.
Or overall?
For United? I think
Martial probably.
I think Martial.
Unless you sign Antony.
But even then, I don't think Antony will be centre forward. I think what has been seen, and this is where I think it was really, really telling yesterday, that Ten Hag is a serious manager. He dropped Maguire, he dropped Ronaldo, and he went back to his favoured team. He realised that actually Martial had missed a couple of weeks, so he couldn't start him straight away. But as soon as he got the opportunity, he put Martial on that pitch, and Martial made a massive difference. He played that ball through to Rashford. And, it was just great to see. So I think if Martial can stay fit, I think that Martial will be our top goal scorer. Not top goal scorer for the league, but I think he'll be our top goal scorer.
I mean, one thing I will say, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more contributions from Sancho this year.
He was so good yesterday. So good.
He was good yesterday. And I just think, I mean, same with what I said about Ronaldo coming in. Sancho had everything laid out for him to have a really good season at United. You know, really expensive player, and then it just got completely, you know, blown away by this bringing Ronaldo back to the club. And I think I think this season we'll see a lot more from Sancho.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'd be really interesting. I think I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Ten Hag does. I think, you know, this season I'm very much like, if we end up sixth, who, you know, we got to do whatever we got to do. You know, the old kind of like Arteta thing of trust the process. You know, we've got to be able to see that now as well. And you know, but it'll be really interesting. I think that this next week is going to be kind of almost that make or break situation. Are we going to be able to get a few more players in? We'll be able to get a few more out. I mean, we've managed to get Eric Bailly out the door. I never thought that was going to happen. He's gone to Marseille today, and there's an obligation to buy if they make the Champions League. So he'll be out the door. You know, you never know. Even Phil Jones might end up leaving. Man alive.
I heard Phil Jones has been demoted to cleaner of the locker rooms.
I don't know about the.
That's why he's still there, because he does such a good job.
I bet his contract's
really. Yeah, no, he's a really good. I've seen the dressing rooms. They're really clean. So good job, Phil Jones.
I'm glad. But yeah, let's see what happens. I'm really excited for September 4th to play Arsenal. You know, it'll be great if Arsenal can keep winning up until that United game, and then, you know, we can stick it to them. You know, I live in hope. And but yeah,
happy with that, to be honest. If we can win every game until then, I'll take that.
Listen. I meant for you to stay undefeated. Yeah, so get a couple of draws in there, and then we beat you. That'd be great. But yeah, you know, we'll see what happens. Okay, guys, do let us know in the comments section exactly what you think of United's start so far. It has been a poor start to the season, but I think that there's a lot of optimism around the place to suggest that we're going to be all right this season. Don't know what that means, but we're going to be all right this season. So just to kind of like start wrapping the show up, it just got a few little questions for you and just some quick answers. What are your thoughts on Van Dijk? I mean, I've been privately saying to Matt, like, I think that Van Dijk has been on the decline for months. I've been saying this for months. I don't think he is that same aura of a player where everyone's fearful of him. I think that people have found him out a little bit. He's very static when it comes to defending. Yeah, they go on about the Rolls Royce and all of that, but we saw that there were declines in players such as Rio Ferdinand and, you know, Sol Campbell, all of those players. At some point, it always happens. So what are some of your quick thoughts on Van Dijk at the moment?
I mean, I think he's seen Saliba and he's like, nah, there's a new sheriff in town. So, yeah, jokes. Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen this season already, he's not really performing to the level he was. It was really funny to see James Milner shouting at him. It was just absolutely amazing. So, yeah, I mean, early days, but I'm not too fussed about coming up against Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool always beat us, but I think if we can just attack, and yeah, I don't worry about their defense, especially if we go down the left side and just take on.
Massive Achilles heel with Trent.
Trent, he's so bad. He is such a
I was
rubbish
saying
defender.
today, I think that one of the biggest things that Liverpool need to do, if you want to keep Trent in the team, is stick him in midfield and get a better right back. Because he's not a defender. Like, he's so just bad. Not. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. I've never seen such a terrible right back in all my life. And I mean, I've seen people like flipping, I can't even think, you know, I've seen some terrible right backs, and he's a terrible right back. The guy can't jump. The guy can't slide tackle. The guy can't do a standing tackle. He's just terrible at defending. Yeah, all right, he's got a good ping on him and he can kick the ball from one end of the field to other, and he can find you and put a good cross in and stuff like that. But if you're going to be a defender, you've got to be able to defend, and he can't do it. Either stick him up into right midfield, or you're going to have to drop him if you want to start saving your season.
This is the thing with Liverpool, is he is typically a midfielder, because Liverpool play with 3 solid midfielders, usually when they're not all injured. So they usually have Henderson, Thiago, and Fabinho, right? All quite defensive minded, but they can obviously interchange and go forward and play the passes that they need to. So that allows Trent and Robertson to go forward and become midfielders because the defenders are sitting back, especially Fabinho. So he kind of sits into the back 3 because he's such a defensive minded midfielder. Probably one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. But now their midfield is completely torn apart. Yesterday, they had to rely on Harvey Elliott. I'm not even sure what kind of midfielder he is. I know he runs about a lot, so fair play to him for that. Henderson and Milner by themselves without, Fabinho and Thiago. They can't do the defending that they need to, that Liverpool rely on to play that system, which is why Trent actually had to do a bit of defending yesterday and was found out. That's what happened.
And also, when you play Salah just in front of you as well, you know that you're not going to get any cover for Trent. So, there's a massive weakness to be exploited. I could see Martinelli getting in. I could see,
Martinelli, he'll easily get past Trent, no problem.
Yeah.
He'll breeze past him.
Well, this is the thing. Anthony Elanga yesterday was flying past Trent all of the time. He set Sancho up for his goal, all of that sort of stuff. So, I think that Liverpool, they need to start doing something now. Otherwise, you could even start saying they might just be in a top 4 challenge rather than a title challenge.
It depends how long their midfield is out, because that's the only problem that they have at the moment is their midfield is quite hampered with injuries. I don't know how long these players are set to be out, but they need to maybe look into the market if these players are going to be out for a longer time, because they need some defensive cover, because Trent is just,
absolutely.
You may as well not even play him.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so, and then just the final question from me, and I just need a one-word answer from you. Are Manchester United finally going to sign Frankie de Jong? Yes or no?
I think you could probably say no on that one.
Okay. Tom?
I think no as well.
Okay. Well, I think yes. Do you know why? Because I live in blind hope. Anyway, so just coming up to our flop player of the weekend and flop manager of the weekend. Tom, who are you saying? Flop player of the weekend?
Or either Mendy for some of the slip-ups or Koulibaly. I mean, it's torn between the two there. I mean, he did the same thing. Like, he just grab players. It's like trying to just take out players. It was like watching American football, wasn't it?
Yeah, he definitely
he forgot what sport he was in for a minute. Maybe he'd been watching a lot of the NFL.
I think he was quite frustrated that game. After conceding a goal like that from your keeper, and then you're just like, right, what are we going to do now? He must have been so frustrated. It's just like, I'm going to take my frustration out on these players and start whacking into them.
Wow, what's that? I think it's got to be him, Koulibaly. Yeah, it's got to be Koulibaly. He's my flop. Manager, it's probably got to be Tuchel. They just look really unorganised for a team that spent 170 million so far.
Yeah,
I mean, I know Leicester are unorganised. We spent nothing. They spent 170 million. I mean, what's their excuse? They were just all over the shop. They had 5 forwards at one point on the pitch. I was like, whoa, what is going on? And there was no real clear system. I know they're a player down after a while.
I mean, they have 5 forwards on the pitch, but no striker.
Yeah, I know.
Why are they spending so much money elsewhere when they haven't got a striker?
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And, but what is it I saw today? 60 million for Anthony Gordon from Everton.
I know, what's that all about?
Don't know, mate.
Who is he? Who is Anthony Gordon?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
He's got a few goals that
season,
but not good. 60 million.
How many goals has he scored in the Premier League?
Not
5?
60 million's worth.
I
didn't see 60 million. I saw less than that, but is that how much they're saying?
60
million, yeah. But then Everton have rejected it, but they'll accept the 60 million if they also get either Conor Gallagher or someone else on loan. And if Chelsea accept that, I think that's a bloody good deal for Everton, to be fair.
You're telling me that
what?
You're telling me that Leicester are mad at passing 70 million for Fafana, where Everton are passing 60 million for
No, Everton are equally as stupid, but they're holding out. They haven't rejected 3 bids. They haven't rejected
but
one.
they want a player and 60 million.
No,
Like,
that's
listen,
going to be
Tom,
that's
Tom.
going to be the they're going to need that to accept it. They will accept it at that point.
Yeah. I think that they're
Maybe
going to accept
Leicester
it.
should go for something like that because you need some players.
Absolutely. I'd be all over Conor Gallagher.
I did hear that rumour, but apparently some of the add-on clauses weren't realistic on top of the 70 million. So I don't know. I don't know how, if they're getting closer to Leicester's, breaking point with it, but we can talk about this all day, speculate. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I am looking forward to see what transfers. I still think there's some big transfers to come in this league.
And this is why I ain't giving up on Frankie de Jong. Just saying. Anyway, so Matt, go into your player of the weekend and your flop of the weekend.
Oh,
sorry. No. Flop player, and flop manager. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, Tuchel and Mendy or Koulibaly, I would say, but also just throwing Klopp out there because I hate him, and just always got an excuse. I didn't see Tuchel after the game. Did he have a good excuse?
Oh no, I didn't listen. I didn't hear him. I didn't listen to him.
Yeah. No. But yeah, and Van Dijk also needs a shout out as well for his standing still. Let's just stand still. Make yourself as small as you can.
I saw a meme on him. I saw a meme on him on Twitter. Yeah, the aura where he stood there, he's like, curl it past my aura. And then the ball goes past his aura. It was great.
Yeah.
Okay, so my 2 flops of the weekend, I think I'm going to go for manager. I'm going to go for Floppy Cloppy. I've been wanting to say that for ages. Floppy Cloppy. I just think he's so bloody up himself. And then the guy, he can't do humility. Like, he can't do humility. United were absolutely by far yesterday the much better team. And he still comes out and says, I still think that we should have won. I'm just like, what? Did you watch the same game as us or not, mate? Like, do you know what I mean? It was really funny though, because when it was then put out there on Twitter, Specsavers then commented back and they said, we'll update your prescription or something like that. It was brilliant. Specsavers replied.
He's had laser eye surgery.
Well, yeah. And so I'm going to go for Klopp. And then player, I think I could put the whole Liverpool team in there if I'm joking. In terms of player, I'm probably going to go. I've got to go for Mendy. I mean, just that whole, he was just rubbish, wasn't he? Like letting the ball go through his legs, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, he was just.
I don't think he'll be playing from the back anytime soon.
No, I mean, there's talk now that Ariza Balaga, Kepa's going to get a run in the team. Quite rightly. I
thought they were getting rid of him.
Well, yeah. I mean,
they just signed a new keeper, didn't they?
Have they?
Yeah, some randomer, but I think he costs a fair bit of money. I mean, he would do as Chelsea. They throw money at anyone that moves.
Definitely.
Anthony Gordon, 60 million.
Okay, so then moving on to our player of the weekend and manager of the weekend. Matt, who are you going for?
Oh, I mean, let me refresh my memory. I guess, I don't even know his name. What's the American guy?
Jesse Marsh.
Yeah, I guess he deserves a shout out.
Jesse Marsh. Yeah, Jesse Marsh.
There's no real standout performances, is there?
Ødegaard. Got to say Ødegaard.
No, I'm talking about manager.
Oh, sorry.
But I am very grateful for that, Nick. That's really nice that you actually said Ødegaard had a good game. I mean, yeah, I'll go for Jesse Marsh this week. Another shout out, if he had pulled off the win, would have obviously been Eddie Howe, but unluckily for Newcastle, they couldn't hold out against Man City. So yeah, I'll go for Jesse Marsh. Player of the weekend. I should really prepare these answers, shouldn't I? I like to go out like on a limb, just yeah. Let's go for Saliba again. I know I said him last time, but no, because that goal, mate, was so good and defensively sound. I mean, I know it's only Bournemouth, but
yeah, but Ødegaard was better.
Ødegaard's always good. Like he's just
well, that's not true. That's not true.
No, he always does what he's supposed to, apart from score. Whereas this time he actually pulled the trigger a little bit better.
Maybe the last few games, this season, but last season he had some terrible games. But
he's settling into the team now. So I'll go for Saliba because you're going to say Ødegaard anyway. So
okay. And Tom, who are you going for in terms of player and manager?
I mean, this doesn't give me a lot of joy to say this, but I've got to be honest. It's going to be Ten Hag for manager because he was quite brave. He was quite brave, and when a manager sticks to their guns and they're brave, if it went really bad, which he might have been expecting that being in that game. I know you probably had faith in his team, but he would have got it so much worse for Liverpool. I mean, it's worse when you're a Man U fan and you lose to Liverpool. It's way worse, isn't it? It's like being a Leicester fan and losing to Nottingham Forest. Not even near as bad as the Man U situation, but I'm just saying, if Leicester finished below Nottingham Forest, oh my life. So
Did you know that your game's gone to pens, Tom? The Stockport game.
Has it?
Oh dear.
Yeah, penalty shootout right now.
Oh, Roger's out.
No.
Roger's out. Okay, and who's your player at the weekend?
I was going to say Ødegaard actually before you said it, because I genuinely did think I was when Ødegaard first came on the Arsenal scene. I thought he was pretty good from Real Madrid. I thought he was pretty good. When you decided to sign him, wasn't that excited. I thought he's all right. No. I wasn't that excited. It wasn't
the first 6 months in the club. He didn't really do a whole lot.
No, I wasn't actually excited. But now I think he's essential. He's so essential. I mean, he's keeping Smith Rowe out the side. Smith Rowe scored 10 goals last season?
Yeah, but Smith Rowe ain't that good, mate. Like
Smith Rowe can still play in that team because he typically last season played the left. Martinelli's keeping him out of the team because he's just on fire at the moment. Yeah. Just running past everyone. So carry on.
Okay. So you're going for Ødegaard?
I'm going for Ødegaard. I think he's essential, and he did really well.
No, I'd agree with that. So I'm going for Ten Hag. I've got to go for Ten Hag. I think that he did from that game prove a lot of people wrong that was questioning his methods. He stuck to his guns. The fact that he got after the 4-0 defeat to Brentford, he got the team straight back in the next day, made them run 8.5 miles, and he also ran with them as well. I think that he's a serious coach, and his methods absolutely worked against many people say the best manager in the world, and tactically he did one on Klopp. So I'm going to go for Ten Hag, and I'm also, just because it's great to see, and I think that he had a fantastic performance yesterday, I'm going to go for Marcus Rashford. I think that he was very understated just how good he was yesterday. He was taking people on, and like the amount of times last season he wasn't taking people on. Like if that was Marcus Rashford of last season, he wouldn't have started running at Van Dijk. He wouldn't have, So to see him doing that yesterday was just a joy to see. It was like the old Rashford was starting to come back. And then to see him score yesterday was great. To see him then go and have another opportunity where he then cuts back inside and just fires just over the bar, was great to see. So I'm going to go for Rashford and Ten Hag. My United bias is coming in there, but I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do that a lot this season. So I'm going to go for it now. All right. So they are flops and not flops of the weekend. So there we go, everybody. That is the end of the show. Hope you did enjoy it. We will see you guys again next week.